Next episode of Chaos Code and CryptoShorts. Today I have with me, and it's a pleasure and an honor for me, and not to say I'm biased, but let's get to this later. So with me is Wolfgang Rückerl. I guess it's super hard for someone from the English-speaking region to even write a name or to pronounce a name. He is the driving force behind Iris Vision and ENT Technologies. He has been one of the, so to speak, pioneers combining AIT, blockchain, and AI. So I guess we here like a crossover doesn't make sense, is it all bullshit, or am I just buzzwording right now? And we also get a bit of an insight of how he is tackling challenges that he's facing as an entrepreneur on an everyday life, and actually what brought him into crypto. So, but giving the word to you, Wolfgang, maybe you can tell us a bit like about what you've been doing, beside what I said so far, and what is your origin story. So, what brought you into the field that you're in today?
Oh wow! Thanks for having me. First of all, pleasure to be here, Stefan. Yes, my name is complicated, so we keep it to the first one. Just Wolfgang is fine. What brought me into the space? Other people, word of mouth. Back then, 2017. That's where I started in crypto. Um, I have an AI and security background, but never had any connections with blockchain itself, any decentralized systems like this. But yeah, friends brought me there. So
I wonder that you're friends. So, tell me a bit about your friends that actually made you do trans or made you make the transition into this pure madness of crypto. Are they really friends?
they still are. They still are. They are still around. We're struggling together, ups and downs, building together. I think that's very important. Um, Not only that I learned a lot from them in my whole journey throughout the last 8 9 years, but I would say because of them, I'm actually here. I mean, before of that, before I came here, I was the typical biz dev salesperson, leading regions, supporting teams in a, I wouldn't say 9 to 5 business, but being an employee, right? And being an employee, yeah, I can say that now it was always a struggle for me. Um, it's
Tell us about that. So, what were the struggles? What is it people really need to know or want to know about the Wolf Gang?
I'm more the type of, I like to break rules a little bit, kind of. I for me it's hard to always follow a structure, doing the same every day in and out. That's super boring. So I want to get things to the next level. I want to try out stuff. And if you're in the corporate, if you're in a huge company, these kind of things are not possible. It was way more possible in the last company that I was working for, which was from Israel, an AI company. We pushed a lot of stuff in a very short period of time, and that got me hooked. Kind of, I think that brought my entrepreneurial skills out. Kind of, let's say that made me awake of what is possible and made me start my own business.
So what is your recommendation? Because I also want to give like some do's and don'ts for the newbies, and I know like a lot of my friends, a lot of people in the startup sphere, or especially in Web3 startups, they are struggling a lot. So maybe you can guide us a bit about what was your personal process and how did you evolve during the time becoming an entrepreneur?
Yeah, becoming an entrepreneur. I'm not the type of guy that is going to tell you read this book and read this book, do this and do that. I think that's up to anyone to decide on what to do. For me, it was like when I started back then, I was doing this in my spare time. I was having
Yeah.
my day to day job, and I was working during the weekend, overnight. I was just trying to learn stuff that got my interest, and started to build from there. So I was doing two jobs at that time until I finally made the decision, okay, now I need to go full force.
Okay, so would you say it's more the hustle and the grind? So more like doing it like on a consistent base and working your fucking ass off, rather than like running for the next check in the next financing round? Or is it like balance? Am I too black white here?
Maybe a little bit too black white. I think, as I said, it depends on the person. You need a little bit of a security net. If you have family, it's even more complicated. And you need to have the funds. You need to have liquidity. If you want to start your business, you cannot do that out of nothing, right? You have to invest first,
Absolutely.
team building on top. There are lots of costs and especially unexpected costs coming. So grind, hustle, definitely, and never stop.
Okay,
Simply
but
never stop. Keep
yeah.
shipping.
But let me challenge you a bit on that, because currently we see sort of a shift that there's more and more companies, or at least like my feed and on LinkedIn is spammed with this things like people saying, okay, instead of going for external funds or external raises, and again, like it's not technically, it's not a black and white, but I see like people saying, okay, I don't want to give away shares. I want to be like the guy in the driver's seat as long as possible. And therefore, it's okay for me to grow slower, keeping a larger stake in a company. And where do you see the trade offs?
That's a very good question. Um, I think as an entrepreneur, and especially in the blockchain space, you never stop raising funds. First of all, you can always accelerate, you can always build more, you can always be faster, you can always improve and ship more features for your product and simply expand and grow. So that definitely never stops. But it doesn't mean always mean you have to give away equity. So lots of projects are simply raising funds and giving away tokens. So it depends on their tokenomics, what they have in mind. Is it a game? Is it a DeFi project? Is it an infrastructure project? Whatever it is, it needs to have a fit.
Gotcha. But go a bit like away from the general and guide me a bit through like why and how have you started iVerse? And actually, what is it you're trying to improve? So, what is the real problem you're solving?
Well, back then I'm coming from a time where proof of stake was something new. We only had proof of work, consensus stuff back then. Like we had when I started, we had
Maybe
Bitcoin.
for the ones, sorry that I interrupted, maybe for the new ones, maybe you would just want to, I mean, I know like there's a lot of people that will see this later on that are deep into crypto. So, but for the ones that might have their first touch points with crypto, what is the difference between proof of stake and proof of work for that matter?
Oh,
Or how would you explain it? How would you explain it to your kids?
I think I would not even explain it to them. I would simply tell them find tools and go teach yourself. I think
Fair
that
enough.
I think we have enough tools out there. We always came to the conclusion, and that's how our team works as well. Especially when there are new people, it's not that new people should not ask questions, but it has to be a qualified question to be asked if you want to have another person's time and energy. And we've seen that many times that people are asking questions, and the questions in a chat group, for example, internally, is not getting answered for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah,
And then you simply get another response, found out myself.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? That's the point. Use your brain. Just try to find out yourself, and it will definitely stick way better as if you ask every time for simple stuff.
I love this approach because that's what I'm telling my kids. I mean, kids, grown-ups, question everything that I said. Make up your mind before going like the easy way. Yeah, it's just like, okay, approaching someone else, asking a question instead of like making up your own mind, digging deeper into the topic. And you're totally right. There's a shitload of resources out there where you can basically go left and right and form your own educated opinion. So I go with that. Back to Ivers. So why do we really need Ivers? I mean, do we really need it?
Well, probably yes. The thing is, um, it's not that we are focused on providing one single service. This is the first company we started, and not getting too much into the tech stuff. Back then, we simply invested with friends in different product projects that we have researched. So we put some money in, we made some money in 2017, and we used this money to build Iris Vision, our first company. Originally, we started in Germany, then we faced regulators and decided, okay, we better move to Crypto Valley in Switzerland. So we built our staking provider company, and we started on Multiverse X as the first blockchain where we have built infrastructure, and we're still active on this blockchain, one of the largest staking providers there. But then we faced that there are many builders trying to build on this tech stack without having a clue. So we started to support other builders, right? If the thing is, we are close to Multiverse X, the core team, they brought us into the space, and we invested in them with the money we have made in 2017, 2018. So it was a natural process, kind of, when you have such an amount of this token that you are going to stake it and you will have a yield on it. And with all those returns, we reinvested back into this ecosystem, into other projects building on this tech stack. So it's not that we're only a staking provider, a validator on this chain. It's also that we started to support other projects, right? So we kind of incubated them. We showed them how to bring their product on chain, specifically on this chain, because that's still our home base. That's where we're coming from. But today, of course, we've expanded.
I mean, that's my opinion, and again, like I might be too narrow-minded on that topic. But so my opinion is always like, okay, figure out a solution or something that touches or addresses your own needs, and then build on top of that. I guess that's where we have seen like during the past, like the startups that have been really become a success. And beside Ivers, I can probably name a few that are really big players now in the crypto market that exactly started like that. They saw a problem or a need in the market that they first solved for themselves, and then they basically made it bigger and bigger, make it grow. And I guess that's so my understanding that's the Ivers path. So,
Yeah,
but
with
yeah, back to the question is like, what problem are you really solving?
what problem are we solving? With Ivers, I think this slowed down a little bit. We're expanding, but the services kind of slowed down. I think it's now a combination of our new project together with Ivers Vision, because we have shared resources on these things.
Tell us
But
about it.
yeah, Ivers still is a staking provider, is validating on different chains with also a small VC arm included. So we first of all research projects, then we decide, okay, we're going to invest in them. If this is successful, we run infrastructure for this ecosystem. So we are in for the long run as Ivers Vision with those partners. We have several chains now, expanded globally, right? Providing infrastructure not only for projects, but also for users. So why do we do it? Well, people buy tokens, they want to invest in projects. What are they going to do with it? We always tell them, don't leave it on a centralized exchange, not your keys, not your coins, right? So what are you going to do with it? Not only keep it on your ledger, stake it, have a yield on it, even if it's just a couple percent, put it to stake, make your money work. That's
Stake it
what
to
we do.
make it. Could that be a claim?
Sorry?
Stake it to make it. Could that be a claim that you're using from now on?
Why not? Stake it to make it. Yeah. Yeah. But that's one part. The second part is, we always wanted to make life easy for people, right? I think that's one of the major topics why we have started our own project 3 years ago, which is ENT Technologies, right in the neighbor country in Liechtenstein. And the whole idea was not only to make convince people to have a look at the blockchain space, buy some tokens and stake them, but to more and more get involved. And I think everyone that is in the crypto space and has friends and family, he's always at an event going to explain what's new, why is it going up and down, how to store a seed phrase, how to install a browser extension, how to use application XYZ. And I think we shouldn't do that. We first of all, because people should educate themselves. And second, a user is not interested in this. If I have to explain it first, I think it's already too complicated and blocks adoption. It, we're blocking ourselves kind of with too many complicated things. So we focused a lot on the user experience side when we started with our own project. And I think now we've created a platform where people can create, I would call it a one-click Web3 account. They
Mhm.
get onboarded only with their email, and they can invest into projects with one tap. We've built account abstraction because there are so many different ecosystems out there. We have EVM and non-EVM chains.
And on a side note, educate yourself about account abstraction because we all know if I'm asking Wolfgang about account abstraction, he's not giving me an answer, or the answer that we probably get is, "Hey, educate yourself, question the status quo, yeah, and get your hands dirty on that one."
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. The thing is, a very easy explanation. If you're an OG and you're into the EVM ecosystem, Ethereum, you probably heard of MetaMask, right? Or you have heard of other wallets. And there are so many different wallets. There are so many different chains. And I've seen that 10, 15 years ago already in the industry, that there are proprietary protocols and different manufacturers are not speaking the same language. So if you have product A and product B from different manufacturer, they are not talking to each other because they are communicating on different protocols. And it's so sad to see. Actually, for me, I had this experience 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and now in the blockchain space it's the same thing. They are talking EVM, they are talking SVM. This is a different chain and this is a different chain, and they have different tools, they have different wallets. Why do we make it so complicated for people? We want to have people joining the space, bringing in fresh money, building new cool applications, so we have to make their life easy. And that's
Okay,
what we do with account abstraction.
let me add an anecdote to that one because, and I'm telling you why it's not, or my opinion, why it's not happening faster. So I can remember a panel at the World Economic Forum 3 years ago. 3 years ago was a fantastic panel. Was some of the leaders, so some CEOs of various blockchains, and their idea in terms of mass adoption. So one point that you just touched was, and it also plays into the point of UX. So they said, okay, hey, we have the best tech, and we are the cheapest. So and transactions are good. So and then I came up with a question, usually dressed in shorts. I mean, people know me, hoodie and shorts. No one takes me serious. I'm good with that. And then I asked the question, okay, here comes my experience. People give a flying fuck about the tech and the price. Of course, that's a concern in the end, But if they don't even get there, so if the UX sucks in the first place, so if they can't even use the tool, I mean, if I'm giving you a chainsaw and I'm telling you, hey, use it like a hammer, then it would say, okay, it's probably possible. I mean, it's I'm not saying you can't do it, but would it make sense? Fucking no. Like so, and that's like the feelings that I had, and so I'm also when I'm in panels and I'm telling people, hey, within the last 3 years, technically, nothing really has moved, or there were no major shifts. So I have the feeling it happened, or it's happening more gradually, and that's why I'm so happy when I hear people like you saying, okay, hey, we're focusing on a simple UX or trying to improve the user experience. So my take on that. So it's not about tech in the end. It's not about price in the end. Yes, plays a role, but if the people can't access the tool, then they won't use it, and then it's like everything else is nonsense.
Yeah, I think the players, the builders, the project leaders out there that we have in the blockchain space, they simply have to understand that we have a very, very small market. Blockchain is a niche market, and
Yeah,
it does not really make sense to fight for market shares. It would be way better to grow the pie, right? To work together, work
totally
on
with you.
common standards, and make it more accessible for people, easier to onboard. I think that's where the focus should be.
Okay, to bring in a bit of a controversy here, I like the way you think, and I like because technically it is like the way that I would envision it, like people working together. But with, I mean, and I'm not talking about politics, but currently I have the feeling it's still, or maybe you can correct me, maybe your experience is different. It's still everyone on their own kind of bit. Like I don't see like the space as collaborative as I wanted to see, and my opinion is like everyone has like some sort of this inbuilt fear, like and we touched earlier points like going for the next race, so it's more feeling still feels more like a competition rather than a collaboration, but maybe your experience is different.
No, I think it's a repeating cycle. Actually, I'm here 8 9 years, and exactly the same things are happening again and again. Back then, we were discussing what's the best consensus algorithm we should use for a project, who has the best tech, right? Who is the
Yeah.
yeah. Let's not dive too deep. Then we had
Well, I like bashing
transaction.
the industry. I like bashing the industry. I
Yeah,
think that's the only thing that drives it forward, and not for the sake of bashing it, but I have the feeling like whenever you're saying something negative, people blame you for it, but they might also change something. Right? And then you're saying, hey, let's keep the status quo. Everything is good, while it's not. I mean, we sometimes have the feeling we need to enforce change. And I'm not saying by regulation, but sometimes we really need to push people into collaborations. Sounds hard, but I'm happy to hear your take. And I know it's not that easy.
we have exactly the same discussions today, only with different headlines, put it like that. As I just said, back then we were only talking about the underlying tech. Then there was a huge focus on transactions per second and
Yeah,
scalability. Now we come into sharding, es- especially in the DeFi space. Everybody wants to have a high TVL, total value locked, in the
yeah,
ecosystem, kind
yeah,
of, right? Because that's how you get measured. But
yeah,
the thing is, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. If you don't have the users, you will never grow your liquidity inside your ecosystem. So it's on the builders to build products that are good enough to bring adoption, to bring more users in. And it doesn't matter if it's a game or if it's any kind of DEX or other application or meme coins, whatever it is. Anything that brings adoption and is easy to use brings in money, brings in transactions naturally, right? That's what we need. So we have experienced this with many foundations we were talking to, where we simply reached out and said, hey guys, we love your tech stack, we want to integrate you on our platform. What we're building is, in easy words, a cross-chain platform where we connect different ecosystems, and our users will get access to the different liquidity pools on all the different chains. And the first question, like from anyone, was always, okay, but what's my value add? What do I get
Yeah,
out of
yeah,
it?
yeah.
So that's the wrong question. You are getting access to something because we are integrating you. And if your ecosystem, if your tech, if your community, if the products you have in your ecosystem are good enough, people will flow in naturally. That's the point.
Which foundations are we calling out now? Give me some names about the shitty ones.
Any of them, like any of them, everybody is asking for value add. It's not that. um I think that's also a typical approach we had in the last couple of years. Builders were going to foundations saying, I'm going to build XYZ, give me a grant for it,
Yeah,
right? um this is still happening. We're not going this approach. We're asking simply, where's your documentation? We cannot find your documentation, or your documentation is not good enough. It gives us hard times integrating you, so please help us.
yeah.
And then you get into the conversation, kind of.
What is the worst experience you had? And I'm more thinking about like maybe um, about disengagement or with where people, or especially foundations, that this is what you addressed, like the foundations that have been rejecting you in sense of not understanding basically the value add they can get out of it.
I think a lot of those foundations we were talking to did not understand the value add they get from us. And I think a lot of foundations are also afraid of putting in resources or money, that there is some kind of expectation, and their expectation is not going to be met.
Yeah,
But I think, of course, as a person, as human, you question yourself at some point. Did I not explain it well enough? Or why didn't they understand our approach? Kind of, there's not much for them to do. Just give us the documentation and we will integrate it, and then we can do something together, right? No hard feelings, nothing negative. But yeah, I think it's a process. You have to do, you need to have these conversations, because the people are there, right? The
yeah,
ecosystems, they are active, people are there, people want to move with their assets from chain to chain in an easy way. They want to swap their tokens, they need to bridge, they want to use other applications.
yeah.
And
Let me stay with the foundations for a second. I mean, as you haven't been like exploiting everyone that's like not as super smart or not understand the how a collaborative approach gets more out for everyone. But give me like one really good example where you made a really like a good experience, and there you can probably name a name. So
I have very high expectations, and I haven't made any good experience so far.
whoa, that's
Unfortunately, I have to say, I have to admit that.
so
Um,
foundations in general suck.
I think they simply do not have the necessary resources to handle that kind of business. I think foundations are put into place because of the regulation, because of tax, probably. But simply look at, I mean, we both know Switzerland, Liechtenstein, where all the foundations are, also from the big players. Why are they there? right? Tax advantages, most probably.
Likely.
Yeah. So who are you talking to in a foundation, right? There is a group of people that is responsible for a foundation. But when you go to this project, there's a company and there is a foundation. You're never directly talking to the foundation. You're talking to the project. The project is not aware of, let's say, the statutes of the foundation
Mhm.
and what's their reason for actually being there, right? What's the reason for a foundation? What's their responsibilities?
So how would you describe, or basic or not? Let's rephrase it. So what is your expectation towards a foundation? I mean, you describe what's not working. So how can we improve technically, as we usually have a working entity and then we have the foundation, which is the usual case. So and you said like, okay, there are some discrepancies or like mismanagement in terms of communication. So what can we really do? If you could set up a blueprint, so that's like perfect world scenario, how would you envision it?
A fully transparent process. That's what needs to be done, in my opinion. The the biggest problem I think with many foundations is that there is a lot of money stored and only used for the purpose of the company and not actually for the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So when you create, and I'll give you an example for Liechtenstein because that's how we did it. We have a public traded stock company and we have a foundation for our project. We have to have statutes. We have to state exactly in our process. It's just tokens, not equity. We have to explain exactly what are we going to use our tokens for. Not only what's the utility of the token at a later stage, but what's the amount of tokens that we are going to sell in private, in public? What's the amount of tokens the project is going to hold in the public traded stock company? What is used for, let's say, ecosystem development? What's going to be used for marketing? What's going to be used for advisors? And how many of these tokens are actually moved into the foundation for the future growth of the ecosystem? And that's where 99% of the foundations already get lost because
Hmm.
people, the community, the actual retail investors, the normies, they are not aware of, and also the projects that are reaching out to the foundations, they are not aware because people inside the foundation are not publicly sharing info on what is actually at stake, right? Bigger ones probably do it in some kind of way. I mean, a public traded stock company at the end of the year, they publish their numbers. And the foundation actually also has to publish their numbers. So when I'm a project and I'm going to a foundation and I'm telling them, this is what I'm going to build. I'm going to use the tech stack of your ecosystem. Can you support me? Can you support me with resources? Can you support me with tokens of your ecosystem? Can you support me with infrastructure? Can I get access to the core developers to get the necessary support? Because I want to build my business on top of your tech stack. And then you actually tick all the boxes that are needed to receive support or a grant or anything. And I think foundations are still way too intransparent on this process. And that makes life hard for many projects to build on a certain ecosystem.
Okay, so application processes need to be improved. So basically, more like from a sense, like just to rephrase or just to make sure I'm understanding it right, you're saying is, hey, I don't know what I'm up to when I'm talking to one of the foundations, and also like rephrasing or basically in short, what you said is like, hey, I don't know what I'm up to, and neither technically do the foundations. So basically, they don't know what I'm doing. So the chances are limited for myself to know what I really need to do the best for the foundation or to create the best project and get the best in terms of return. for the project and for the foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the main focus of the foundation should not be to pay the salary of the public traded company and the
Gotcha.
employees there,
Yeah.
but also to focus on the growth of the ecosystem.
To just one last question, and then we talked enough about foundation. And again, like that's more like what I've seen or how I see it. I have the feeling like a lot of foundations became more like a marketing instrument to the actual company. Agree or disagree?
I fully agree, because that's what's written in the statutes of every foundation, right? With the money of a foundation, you can pay exhibitions, you can pay the travel of your team, you can pay all the marketing stuff you need. Just look at East Denver that is happening this week. 99% is paid by foundations,
Yeah.
not by the public traded companies. People are throwing their tokens on the market because they need the liquidity to pay everything.
Conferences is another topic that we are keeping up or taking on after. Now we come up like a few rapid fire questions, or basically chaos fire questions. So keep your answer short, as simple as possible. Yes, no, one word. Ready? Okay. Bitcoin or altcoins?
Altcoins.
Hodl or hustle? One word for crypto's future.
UX.
DeFi or CeFi?
DeFi.
Favorite crypto meme?
Walk me.
Biggest game changer in tech?
AI.
Fastest path to innovation, code or community?
Community.
Must read resource?
Bitcoin white paper.
Regulators, help or hindrance?
Depends on where you are.
That's not a fucking answer. One bold prediction for the next 5 years?
Walk me.
Toby or Brand?
Brand.
Okay, man. That was fun. That was fun. Thank you so much. And for everyone, like I needed to bring up this Toby or Brand question, because for everyone that doesn't know the story, first of all, they're an advisor to Wolfgang, and I'm also on advisory board. But there's a story like Toby once challenged me to K1 match. He never showed up. So again, like I'm not calling you out, Toby, because I know it will never happen. And if I would have to bet, I would bet on Brand that he's showing up with his gloves. But I guess with those guys, you never know. So let's see, man. I'm ready. But I'm aging, man. I might be dead before that happens, or GTA 6 is out before that ever happens. So, and I guess that says a lot. So no, yeah, it was funny. I guess like that's also reflecting what you said earlier, like where you pick like hustle over hodl, and like basically going to education. Um, and before we went into this, you just touched conferences, which actually became a big thing for me, because I mean people know me as the guy that's traveling all the shitty conferences left and right. While this year, actually, I said to myself, "Hey, I'm not getting anything out of it." That's my feeling. It's just like a lot of companies spending shitload of money with uncertain outcome, and some companies have been super transparent. Think Polkadot, they spent, I don't know, close to half a million on Singapore. um, I just want to hear you take. Do we need more conferences? Do we need more specialized conferences? And what is your general take on conferences?
My general take on conferences, nice to have, because you have the possibility to meet people, reconnect with them, but for sure not at main events. So I've seen this 20 years ago, 15 years ago. It's the same thing. In my opinion, exhibitions, they're dying out. It's good to have them still for communities, but I think people are not going to a conference with the expectation I will learn something new, right?
Yeah.
Or I will get to know something firsthand. No, it's just about meeting people.
Yeah.
And I'm also not planning to go to any bigger events throughout this year. I've been at many events last year, and yeah, validated
Yeah.
this kind of.
But would you say it's a people's fault? And why I'm saying this is like people going to conferences with the wrong expectation, or is it conference organizers that are overselling?
Absolutely overselling. I think the expectation of people is made by the organizers, kind of. And why should somebody pay $1,000 or more to get a ticket for an event that has bad food or even no food, no drinks, and then you can listen to some panels that are also streamed online? Doesn't make sense for me, right? And just picking up some shirts or other merchandise. No, I want to meet people.
By the way, if you have cool swag, and I'm talking about cool swag, not a shitty stuff, send it my way.
No, I
Send
just
it,
have.
send it my way. And end of the year, um, I give it away, or we make I don't know, like a raffle, and I'm giving away the coolest swag. So if you're convinced you have something really cool, and I judge your company by what you're sending, send it. Just see how convinced you are about like your own quality, because I have a feeling like that's also a reflection. The merch reflects directly on your company, and that's what a lot of people don't have in mind. They're coming up with like they're just giving away like shitloads of merch that is absolutely shitty quality, and people see this, people realize that, and I think yeah, we crossed that hill. Basically we're on a downturn in terms like people are picking up everything. So be smart on that one. But yeah, overselling. Back to the point, like if you would say, okay, let's assume like in general, all the conferences are overselling because technically, hey, they're selling something, which until a certain extent I can understand because it needs to be paid. They need to get in the sponsors, but your experience, and we have met at a lot of conferences last year. So, what has been your favorite conference and why?
Favorite conference and why? The smaller ones. I think Crypto Valley conference in Switzerland is a short 2 day one that has one big
Shout out
network.
to the Crypto Valley guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think because it's smaller, it has specific focus on different verticals within the market, especially in Switzerland. It's that there are less um, hype topics. I would say it's not that you meet thousands of games or NFT projects or something like that. It's more on infrastructure, fintech topics, and that's maybe my interest. But I think the quality of people is really good in Switzerland, and people cannot run away because the after party is on a boat or on two boats actually. So
Yeah,
they have good food, good drinks, very good quality, and it's easy to reach. That on top, and I think for others, been to Dubai, team was at Singapore. There is Denver. We've met in Brussels, and we had the same experience there, right? We talked about it, all the different side events.
yeah,
Companies, projects are paying a lot of money to book these restaurants or clubs or anything, and nothing is going on there. So
true, true.
sorry for them, waste of money. Mm, yeah.
As you brought up, as you brought up clubs, and I'm not naming a specific party, as there have been numerous ones, and I think that there was in Singapore. There was in Singapore, like where there have been where you could go clubbing like 5 days in a row, or at multiple venues. So, and my experience is why I think it's fun for the I would say for the younger generation. Now, I mean, I'm just saying what my kids are telling me. Man, you're halfway dead, so write down your last will and let us know how much we get. No, but to a more serious point, I mean, it's just like being at those parties. It might be nice to have a relief, but in terms of business, I mean, it's just like you're screaming at each other. Two people standing like this close to each other, screaming at each other. Two people nodding heads, and no one got what the other one said. So from a business perspective, my opinion is zero value.
From a business perspective, I fully agree. I was talking to a lot of people about exactly that. And I think there are counter arguments, right? I agree that when people are traveling a lot, really hustling day and night,
Yeah,
they want to go out at some point, they want to party, and they simply do not want to talk about business anymore.
gotcha.
Simply relax, enjoy, have a night off, right? Maybe not 5 days in a row, but a night. A night out is cool with friends to meet. But it's not good in my opinion to meet new people
Yeah.
and to connect.
As much as I go with you on that point, I also disagree to some extent. I mean, so here comes my point, because of the feeling like as we have, I don't know, hundreds of side events now at the bigger conferences, sometimes up to 1,000. So people are foaming out. They want to be everywhere, and it's not like they're really getting the relief that you might expect. I mean, if you like one of the frequent traveler to conferences, then you might be more picky. But I definitely know like there's so many people that are like having 20 side events each day. So they're just getting more and more exhausted down the week actually. So, but I agree with you. I agree with you in terms of, hey, yes, you need to have a relief, especially with the bigger conferences where you probably on the ground like 5 days, because usually there's like a pre-conference, there's post-conference, there's like shitload of stuff going on. And I also can tell you, like one of the best things that I've been experiencing was a kart event, so kart racing, Mario Kart style in Singapore, organized by the Apes. I knew that, like for me, it meant zero business, but it was like a relief in terms of talking to people that have a different mindset. That no one was shilling anything, no one was selling anything. Everyone knows like, okay, ape, okay, we're good, and then just like having a nice kart race, decent food. So just to also level that out. But I think, yeah, for me, if for all the new conference newbies, every day pick something that you would say that's pure fun, enjoy, get out of the hustle, and just to regain energy. That's my take on conferences. Yeah. So parties destroy you. Like down the road. I mean, I know people that aren't as experienced on conferences. They're not showing up the next day, or they're fading into the conference like 2 o'clock afternoon. So that's why I'm saying I tend to disagree in general, but I see your point. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, you should not forget to have fun. I mean, in general, if if it wouldn't be fun what we're doing, if I would not enjoy what I'm doing, I
yeah.
couldn't do it, right? Then I mean, what's the reason for being here? But on the
Which,
other hand,
yeah, go ahead.
um, just on the business aspect of things, investing money using the capital a company has, a foundation has, I have to think of the return of invest, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Sponsoring events or organizing events, finding sponsors for my own event, that's a sales job, right?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
have to sell a value
yeah.
to somebody that is going to sponsor my event or joins in some way. And if I cannot deliver any results to grow business, to connect people, why are we doing it? as you
No.
said, hundreds of side events. People don't know where to go. Then there is FOMO on specific events. You cannot get in. Then in Singapore, they
Yeah,
even got shut down by the police because too many people were there. We've seen events where they didn't even open the door, right?
yeah, yeah.
They did not even start the event,
Or
and hundreds of people
canceled
were on the
last
streets.
second because they don't have the money, they don't have co-sponsors. I mean, yeah, we have seen shit left and right. So, but usually conference is a tool to get your brand name out there, to show yourself, and I'm not talking about return now. I'm more thinking about like community approach and how do you get people attracted to what you're doing. And now think of it from your own perspective. You probably might not be sponsor next year or this year at any of the conferences, but how do you actually raise awareness for what you're doing?
We've tried many things. It's always a trial and error thing.
Tell us about the lessons learned.
Lessons learned: spend your money wisely, especially if you're self-funded and at the beginning of your project. Uh, we haven't raised any funds in the last year. Started, but not too much. Everything is self-funded, so I think I'm a bit more rigorous on spending, but still not doing everything perfect. I think 2024 in general was a very interesting year because KOLs, key opinion leaders, influencers, they had a lot of power in 2024 in the first half of the year. They were contracted by many projects. People were throwing money at them. And now we actually see the results that they do not get into deals anymore. They are fading out of projects. Communities are not happy. Projects are not happy. Even the KOLs that got paid for the services are sometimes not that happy because the token did not get to a certain level or something, so they got underpaid, or tokens are still locked up and we're still not in the alt season. Or
Yeah.
so I think marketing, you need to be super smart. You cannot do everything correct. You have to find your ways. And as I said, we've tried many things. We've spent money on stuff that did not bring the results that we not expected, but we wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
And then I think it's the only advice I can give is, if you see something is not working out, don't stick to it. Stop it. Do something differently.
Okay, then, but just to give some alpha on that one, what is it where you saw the best returns, or what worked best for you for your specific project? I know it's not the same for all, but what is it that you see that work best for you?
What works best for us is a combination of things. You cannot pick something specific. So I cannot
Yeah,
say do ads because they will bring good results.
yeah,
We're not actually doing ads
yeah.
on Twitter or any other social media platform, or go with KOLs, or go with a marketing agency XYZ. I think specific things, or doing one thing only, doesn't make sense. You need to have a combination of things. But in general, what you need as a project to grow your community is high quality connections. You need to spend time with high quality people, get feedback on the ideas you have, on the approach you have, on your go to market, and simply connect with more and more people that are then automatically
But
bringing you more
how
people.
do you get
Word
there?
of
I
mouth.
mean, yeah, how do you get there in terms of first of how do you raise awareness, interest of the people that can help you leverage their network? How do you maintain it? And is there a secret formula, or are we again back to hustle and bustle?
learn to hear a lot of no's every day, and don't be afraid to get rejected at some point.
Yeah.
Talk to people as much as you can, um, with the right attitude, with the right energy. That is very, very important. Be positive as a person. I always said this in also in my previous business. Business is done between people. It's not the
Absolutely.
pitch deck I'm sending. It's not the advertisement you see. At the end of the day, we're sitting at the table and we shake hands. That's how business is done. If I can't trust you, if I can't look into your eyes, we're not going to have business. So, quality over quantity.
Got it. Love it. So, as we are coming closer to an end, maybe you also want to share about a bit like a future outlook, and in terms of, hey, if you can predict one major shift in the crypto industry in the next 5 years, what would it be, and why does it matter? First, in general, and then how will your company develop?
Since we are in Europe, and many changes by regulators are have been activated or are going to be activated soon, I think existing projects and also new projects need a kind of security globally by the
Security, you mean regulatory framework?
exactly
Okay.
regulatory framework. In my opinion, in Europe, we are currently heavily overregulated as projects. You cannot tell a DeFi project that is building a bridge aggregator that they have to act like a bank, right? And it's the same terms. As of today in Europe, a decentralized exchange, a DEX, is there's no difference to a centralized exchange for the regulator. And that of course is a problem. How can a decentralized exchange deliver the same data as a centralized exchange? People on a decentralized exchange, they simply connect their wallet and they do their trades. How can you as a DEX, if you run one in Europe, now tell your users, please do your KYC, then we do AML checks on your wallets. We will have a score on you, and in a certain period throughout the year, we are going to transfer all the user data to the regulators because they ask for it. That's
Hmm.
where we are in Europe right now. So again, I think lots of changes coming in the US. US is always a little bit tricky in my opinion because changes are coming very quickly. So businesses have to adapt very quickly to the certain changes, and the fees are very high if you do something wrong. On
True.
the other hand, if you're in some offshore environment, it's also not that easy to run your business there. And then there is Asia. So I think globally we kind of need a framework. Regulators have to talk to each other. We have to find a common ground for projects to build their applications and have users getting on board in this ecosystem and get invested in this space.
Okay, sounds interesting. What would be your favorite jurisdiction? Where would you say is the most crypto friendly regulation or the best framework as of now, as we speak? Um, and would this have changed your decision on where to set up your company, knowing this like 5 years ago?
Um, there's no simple answer to that question because it depends on what your business is about. Are you going to have a token? Are you simply building an application? Are you right? It really depends. But let's pick a company that is planning to have a token.
Yeah.
Um, Europe is probably difficult, or you need to raise a lot of money to get the necessary licenses. Processes are taking a while. Um, Much faster than in the past. So don't it's not a nightmare. Switzerland is very crypto friendly, but it's not within Europe.
Yeah.
So it is in the center of Europe, but other things apply there. But then it depends where your users are, right? If you are a project, we just to give you an example, CoinList 2 weeks ago they did a public sale for Wallet Connect,
Hmm.
and they were accepting users from Europe. And after that, they sent a refund and an email because somehow they realized, oh fuck, there is a MiCA regulation. We cannot accept money from European investors. Well, guys, you're a huge, huge company. You're doing millions of dollars and you
Whoever
should
was
have
their
some
advisor
worry,
should be fired. Just saying.
I,
Harsh
I don't
sounds
get it,
hard. Yeah.
right? If you're a launchpad and you want to deal with Europe, you have to be MiCA compliant. If you launch projects and you want to offer the tokens of this project to the European users, also the project has to be MiCA compliant. Both have to go hand in hand. Otherwise, what are you going to do? Block IPs from all over Europe, not accept them in the KYC process? That's where we are.
Yeah.
It's not that easy right now.
So let me wrap it up. And I'd like to come up with what you said, like from basically it's super interesting to have you on the show. Um, but if I would like was one of my favorite artists, one of the favorite greats of all times, like startup hustle and also crypto. Everyone has a plan until punched in the face. So that would be like my conclusion on this. And in terms of framework, a lot of things need to be done. And I like your approach. Make up your own mind. So question the status quo. Question the promises out there. Question the projects, and educate yourself. Which let me give a shout out to Delphine Former. If you're interested in everything Micah, because that's also a point Wolfgang touched. So listen to her podcast. It's in English. If you want to have like easy peasy to digest education for Germans, follow Crypto Nerds and Eric Heinemann. And if you're interested in storytelling, that might also be a thing for you, like building up a new company. Follow Alexandra Weck, English and German as of now, if I'm not fully mistaken, but correct me on that. And as you're my guest, the final words are yours. You can say whatever you want, whatever's on your mind, whatever you want to share. Give it a go.
I was expecting a Rocky quote from you actually when you started with the punches. I think that's a very very a good one actually.
Yeah,
It depends on how many punches you can take
yeah,
and if you're
yeah,
willing to stand up again, because that's what we're facing. I think as projects, as foundations, as retail investors in this space, blockchain is a niche market. We have very very high risks and we have the chances also of very high returns. Enjoy it, the roller coaster ride. It's a never ending story, probably. It's repeating cycles that we have. Don't get scared of what's happening. Prices are going up, prices are going down. Don't worry. Keep building, keep shipping, and talk to high quality people. Surround yourself with high quality people and enjoy what you're doing.
spread more chaos. Love to have you on the show. Kudos to everyone to made it till the end. Follow us, give us a share, give us a like, support the show or not. I don't give a flying fuck actually. And happy to see you back. Welcome to the next episode. And we're out.